The planet Eldria was a world of wonders. Its skies shimmered with pale green light, and floating islands drifted above dense forests. Rivers glowed softly in the dark, carrying minerals that sparked in the moonlight. For most visitors, Eldria was a place of awe and mystery. For Princess Liara, it was home, and home had grown dull over the years. Liara had seen hundreds of suitors. The alien males of her world were strong, intelligent, and skilled. Yet none had ever inspired her. None had ever sparked a fire of excitement in her heart. She watched them with polite interest at their ceremonies, listened to their long speeches, and smiled politely at their demonstrations of power. But inside she felt only emptiness. None of them understood her. None of them could match her curiosity or her desire to explore. Meanwhile, far above Eldria's skies, a small human ship cut through space. Captain Aaron had never visited this system before. Humans were rare here, often underestimated by other species. His mission was simple: deliver supplies to a remote research station. But space was unpredictable, and a sudden energy storm forced Aaron to change course. He barely noticed the planet below before a warning light flashed. He was entering Eldria's restricted territory. The storm hit. Lightning arcs danced across his ship's hull. Alarms screamed, and Aaron's hands moved quickly over the controls. He was trained for emergencies, and his mind worked faster than the blinking lights. With a final push, the ship landed roughly on one of Eldria's floating islands, tearing up the soft, glowing soil. Smoke curled from the engine vents, but the ship was mostly intact. Aaron exhaled and wiped sweat from his brow. "This is going to be interesting," he muttered. He stepped outside and saw the alien landscape in all its wild beauty. Trees with translucent leaves swayed gently in the strange wind, and distant mountains seemed to float above the clouds. Aaron had seen many worlds, but Eldria had a charm of its own. From the shadows of a crystalline grove, someone watched him. Liara had been wandering the area after a private ceremony at the palace. She often visited the floating islands to escape the strict routines of her court. And there, standing next to a strange metallic craft, was a human. Liara's curiosity flared. Humans were rare here, and she had only ever seen them in official delegations. They were unpredictable. She stepped closer, her long robes rustling over the glowing soil. Aaron noticed her immediately. He straightened, offering a polite nod. "Hello," he said. His voice was calm, friendly, and carried a hint of humor. "I hope I didn't land in the wrong place." Liara raised an eyebrow. "You are far from any research station," she said. Her tone was cool, measured, but her eyes studied him carefully. "And you are far from home, human," Aaron smiled. "You could say that." He glanced at his ship. "Looks like I need some help. I'm not sure how to fix a hover engine in this atmosphere without your technology." Liara's lips twitched in the ghost of a smile. Most aliens would have scorned a human for daring to land here, but something about his confidence, his calm attitude, and the faint humor in his voice intrigued her. No alien male had ever approached her this way. Most were arrogant, insisting she admire their strength or wealth. Aaron seemed human, real, honest. "You are bold to admit your limitations," Liara said. "Most would pretend to know everything." Aaron shrugged. "I find it wastes less time if people know what I can do and what I can't." He looked around at the glowing plants and hovering rocks. "This is beautiful. Your world, it's unlike anything I've ever seen." Liara studied him. The way he moved, careful but not stiff, observant but not cautious, it was different from any alien male she had known. He wasn't trying to impress her or show off. He was just himself. That was refreshing, almost fascinating. "You will need guidance," Liara said finally. "The energy currents here are dangerous. They can damage your ship further." "I'd appreciate it," Aaron replied. "But I warn you, my skills are mostly human ingenuity." "I may surprise you, or break something by accident." Liara laughed softly. It was the first laugh she had given in years, and she felt a strange warmth in her chest. "We shall see," she said. They walked together toward the ship. Liara pointed out the dangerous energy nodes and shifting soil, explaining the basics of Eldria's physics in simple terms. Aaron listened attentively, asking questions that showed genuine interest rather than polite curiosity. When she demonstrated how to stabilize the ship's hovering mechanism, he nodded thoughtfully, then found a way to improve it using human engineering principles. The aliens often relied on elaborate, rigid systems, and Aaron's straightforward approach surprised her. With a few adjustments, the ship's engine stabilized, smoke cleared, and the ship hummed steadily. Liara's eyes widened. No alien male had ever repaired anything in her territory without months of study and consultation. Yet this human had done it in hours. You fixed it? She asked, her voice a mixture of disbelief and admiration. Aaron shrugged again. Sometimes it's easier to try what seems simple than to overthink it. I guess humans like to experiment. Liara's curiosity turned to respect. This was not just a bold human. He was clever, adaptable, and brave enough to risk trying something new. She had been watching him. But now she truly saw him, not as a human, not as a visitor, but as an individual with skill and character. Perhaps there is more to humans than I assumed, she murmured. Aaron looked at her, sensing a shift in her demeanor. I'd like to learn more about your world, he said. And perhaps about you. Liara raised an eyebrow. Few had ever spoken to her like this without expectations or flattery. He was not trying to woo her. He was not trying to impress her with wealth or power. He was simply interested, I warn you, she said, smiling faintly. I am not easily impressed. Most who try, fail. Aaron grinned. Then I'd better not fail, right? For the first time in many years, Liara felt a spark of excitement. Here was a human who might actually interest her, not through dominance, wealth, or charm, but through courage, curiosity, and intelligence. She had never felt this way with any alien male. Night fell, and Eldria's twin moons rose, casting a soft glow over the floating islands. They set up a small work area near the ship. Liara watched as Aaron adjusted tools, calculated measurements, and applied simple, clever solutions to complex problems. His hands moved with practiced ease, his mind constantly analyzing, adapting, and improving. You are persistent, she said quietly, and surprisingly patient. Patience is a human strength, Aaron replied lightly. We don't give up easily, especially when the stakes are high. Liara's lips curved into a small smile. For centuries, she had been surrounded by alien males who relied on rules, pride, or force. None of them had ever shown her this combination of courage, skill, and patience. She felt a flutter of curiosity, a spark that reminded her why she loved exploring, why she had always sought something beyond the ordinary. Hours passed. The ship was repaired, the energy storm had calmed, and Aaron finally leaned back on a rock, exhausted but satisfied. Liara sat nearby, watching him. He did not seem tired in the same way her alien suitors might, as if he had been performing for attention. He was tired because he had worked, because he had cared. This human is different, she thought. The first night on Eldria passed quietly. Strange nocturnal creatures called softly in the distance, and the moons cast long silvery shadows. Liara felt a mix of curiosity, admiration, and something else she had not felt for decades. Hope. Perhaps this human could show her something she had never experienced before. Perhaps he could match her mind, her courage, and her spirit. Aaron watched the alien sky with the same fascination. He had faced many challenges in space, but Eldria was unlike any other planet. And Liara was unlike any alien he had ever met. She was intelligent, independent, and perceptive. She did not treat him as inferior or naive. She challenged him in subtle ways, and he found himself thinking of ways to rise to those challenges, not to impress her, but because he respected her. A quiet understanding grew between them that night. Words were few, but actions spoke volumes. Liara had found someone who could think differently, act bravely, and adapt with skill. Aaron had found someone whose intelligence and curiosity matched his own. Neither of them said it aloud, but both knew this was the beginning of something unusual, something rare. Something that no alien male had ever managed to create in her heart. The night on Eldria stretched on, full of silent wonder and quiet tension. And in the heart of a glowing alien landscape, a human and a princess began a story that would change both of their lives forever. The next morning, Eldria's pale green sun bathed the floating islands in soft light. Princess Liara led Captain Aaron to a secluded plateau where the terrain shifted constantly, with floating rocks and unpredictable energy currents. Here, she told him, was a place where no alien male had ever succeeded, a test of skill, courage, and ingenuity. I call it the trial of the shifting isles, Liara explained. Those who pass may claim my respect. Those who fail are sent away. Her tone was serious, but a hint of curiosity lingered in her eyes. She had never expected to consider a human capable of passing. Aaron raised an eyebrow. Sounds dangerous. But I don't shy away from challenges, Liara nodded. Good. You will need every part of your mind and body. Most fail before they even reach the halfway point. Do not be arrogant, Aaron gave a small smile. I wouldn't dream of it. The trial began immediately. The first task was navigation. The floating rocks moved unpredictably and energy currents could knock an unprepared traveler off balance. Alien males often relied on technology to stabilize themselves, but Aaron had no such equipment. He observed, calculated, and moved carefully, using simple ropes, pulleys, and leverage. His human intuition told him when to jump, when to wait, and how to predict the shifting patterns. Liara watched silently, impressed. Most aliens would have rushed blindly, relying on strength or devices only to stumble and fail. Aaron's approach was different, thoughtful, patient, and precise. Hours passed as Aaron traversed the floating terrain. Sweat ran down his brow, but his focus never wavered. Each successful jump, each careful movement impressed Liara more. He wasn't trying to show off. He was simply solving the problem with skill and patience. The second task was intelligence. A series of alien devices blocked the path ahead, each designed to test knowledge of energy flows, patterns, and logic. Alien males often took hours or days to solve them, or gave up entirely. Aaron studied the devices with curiosity. He noticed patterns that the aliens had overlooked. Where they saw complexity, he saw simplicity. Using trial and error combined with careful observation, he reconfigured circuits, redirected energy flows, and opened the path. Liara stepped closer. I did not expect a human to grasp these so quickly. Aaron shrugged. Sometimes thinking differently is more useful than thinking like everyone else. She couldn't help but smile. Humans were unpredictable. He had no training in alien rituals, no experience in their complex rules, yet he succeeded where the best of her species failed. The final task was empathy. A group of alien civilians had been trapped by a sudden energy surge that blocked their path. Most alien males would have ignored them, arguing that the trial was about skill, not compassion. But Aaron stopped immediately. He worked to free them, analyzing the currents, using human ingenuity to create temporary bridges and guiding the aliens to safety. Liara observed quietly, her respect growing. Here was courage, intelligence, and a quality her people often overlooked: the ability to care. Aaron's actions showed a balance no alien male could achieve. By the time he completed the trial, the sun had set, casting a pale glow over the floating islands. Aaron was tired but triumphant. Liara approached him, her expression unreadable. You have done what no alien male has ever done, she said finally. You passed the trial, with creativity, patience, and compassion. Aaron smiled, brushing dirt from his hands. I'm glad I could help. I didn't expect praise, but I'll take it. Liara's smile was faint but genuine. She had never felt such admiration for anyone. Alien males often relied on status, wealth, or brute strength. Aaron had none of those, yet he had achieved what none of them could. He was human, and that made him exceptional. Why do you care so much for them? Liara asked, nodding toward the rescued civilians. Aaron considered the question. Because they are alive. Because helping them is the right thing to do. You don't need power or rank to make a difference. You just need will and action. Liara studied him. His words were simple, but they carried weight. Few aliens spoke like this. Most focused on rules, hierarchy, or appearances. Aaron focused on results and on people. I see now why you are different, she said softly. No alien male has ever spoken or acted like this. You think differently. You care differently. Aaron nodded. Humans survive by adapting, by trying new approaches. We fail often, but we learn. Sometimes, that's what makes the difference. Liara was silent for a moment. She thought of all the alien males who had tried to impress her over the years with displays of strength, wisdom, or wealth. None had ever sparked her curiosity. None had ever inspired admiration or respect. Aaron had done all of that and more. Perhaps humans are worth studying more closely, she said, a trace of amusement in her voice. Aaron laughed quietly. I think you would find we are unpredictable. As night fell fully, the floating islands glowed under Eldria's twin moons. Liara and Aaron sat together near the edge of the plateau, looking out over the glowing forests below. They didn't speak much. Words were unnecessary. The trial had shown her the human's skill, courage, and heart. It had also shown him the beauty, danger, and wonder of her world. "You are unlike any alien I have ever known," Liara said finally, breaking the silence. Aaron turned to her. "I could say the same. You are remarkable." Liara's eyes sparkled. No alien male had ever looked at her like that. Not with admiration, not with genuine respect. It felt different, real, human. "I must admit," she said, "I expected to dismiss you as just another visitor. I did not expect this." Aaron tilted his head. This connection. Your way of thinking, your actions, your courage. It is unlike anything I have seen. You have passed the trial not by following rules but by being yourself." Aaron smiled. "Then perhaps the trial was not just for me. Perhaps it was for both of us." Liara considered his words. For the first time in years, she felt excitement about the future, not about power, wealth, or duty, but about curiosity, challenge, and discovery. This human, in his simplicity, courage, and cleverness, had shown her a world she had not known. As the moons rose higher, Liara made a quiet decision. She would watch this human. She would test him further, not with trials, but with the challenges of life, culture, and exploration. She wanted to see how far his courage, ingenuity, and empathy could go. Aaron, unaware of her silent determination, relaxed beside her. He had faced many dangers in his life, but Eldria had already proven that this planet, and this princess, were unlike anything he had ever encountered. "We will need to explore more of this world," he said. "I think I have barely scratched the surface of its secrets." Liara nodded. "And I think you have barely scratched the surface of mine." It was a statement without arrogance, without expectation. It was a recognition of potential, of challenge, and of respect. And for Liara, it stirred a feeling she had not known for a long time. Hope. Night deepened. Strange nocturnal creatures called softly in the glowing forests below, and the floating islands seemed to hum with energy. Liara and Aaron remained seated, two figures in a strange, beautiful world. One was an alien princess, wise, intelligent, and usually unimpressed. The other was a human, clever, courageous, and entirely unexpected. Together they watched the sky, both aware, without words, that this was only the beginning. The trial had tested skill, courage, and empathy, but the story between them was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. Liara had never felt such admiration, curiosity, or excitement. No alien male had ever inspired these feelings, and now she realized a human had, not through power, not through wealth, but through simple honesty, intelligence, and courage. As the twin moons reflected in her eyes, Liara smiled faintly. Perhaps this human would be different. Perhaps he could challenge her, inspire her, and understand her in a way that no alien male ever could. And deep inside, she felt a flicker of something dangerous for her carefully controlled heart. Anticipation. The floating islands hummed. The night shimmered, and Eldria's strange magic felt alive around them. A human had arrived, and for the first time Princess Liara's world felt unpredictable, exciting, and full of possibilities. The morning on Eldria arrived with a soft green glow. Mist floated over the forest below the floating islands, and the twin suns reflected off the crystalline trees. Princess Liara led Captain Aaron toward the capital city. This city was unlike any human settlement he had seen. Towers of transparent crystal stretched into the sky, their surfaces rippling with alien symbols. Bridges of light connected floating platforms. Alien citizens moved gracefully, their movements precise and their expressions carefully controlled. Liara walked beside Aaron, her long robes brushing the glowing floor. She explained customs, laws, and the unspoken rules that guided every interaction. "The aliens here value appearances and protocol over action," she said. "Most visitors fail to understand it. They offend without knowing." Aaron listened carefully. Humans rarely relied on appearances alone, but he understood the concept of respect and observation. He nodded. "Then I will do my best. I don't want to offend anyone, or you." Liara glanced at him, a trace of amusement in her eyes. Most alien males of her court would have laughed at such a statement. Aaron, however, said it simply, without arrogance. He was willing to learn. That attitude, rare among aliens, impressed her. The first challenge of the day came quickly. Citizens approached with questions and requests. One elder sought assistance repairing a small energy device that powered a local marketplace. Another child had lost a pet-like creature in the floating forests. Many humans would have been confused, and most alien males would have ignored the problems or delegated them to subordinates. Aaron, however, moved with calm efficiency. He knelt beside the device, studying its circuits. "It's a simple energy loop problem," he said aloud, mostly to himself before adjusting the connections and restoring power. The elder bowed deeply, murmuring gratitude. Liara watched quietly. No alien male she had known would have taken the time to repair a device for a stranger. Most would have relied on servants or demanded tribute for their assistance. Aaron had not. His actions were honest, selfless, and practical. Next, he accompanied her to the floating gardens where children played among hovering platforms and luminous plants. One child called out, frightened, pointing toward the edge of a platform. A small creature teetered dangerously. Aaron moved swiftly, calculating the trajectory, and reached the creature just in time, handing it safely back to the child. Liara's lips curved into a faint smile. "You act without hesitation. Many alien males would have paused, argued, or ignored the situation. Yet you—" She trailed off, unable to find the words. Aaron looked at her and shrugged. "Some things are simple. Others are complicated. I like to help where I can." Her eyes lingered on him. His simplicity was not ignorance, it was honesty. His courage was not arrogance, it was action. And his empathy, that was something almost alien to her society, where appearances and status mattered more than the heart. As the day went on, they visited the capital's council chambers. Liara introduced Aaron to her advisors, a group of elder aliens who scrutinized him carefully. Their expressions were cold, their questions pointed, testing his knowledge of alien laws and customs. Aaron answered with clarity, honesty, and tact. When he did not know something, he admitted it instead of guessing or pretending. This honesty, rare in the council's eyes, earned subtle nods of approval. One counselor asked, "Human, how do you think you can adapt to Eldria's culture without causing disruption?" Aaron met his gaze calmly. "I do not intend to disrupt. I intend to learn. And if I see something that can be improved or helped, I will act. But always with respect for your people and your ways." Liara watched silently. Most alien males would have tried to flatter the council, pretending knowledge they did not have. Aaron did not. He relied on intelligence, empathy, and observation. This, more than anything, fascinated her. However, not all attention was positive. Some alien males, previously vying for Liara's approval, began to whisper among themselves. They noticed her attention to Aaron, her occasional smiles, and the way she observed his actions with genuine interest rather than polite curiosity. They were jealous, threatened by a human, an outsider, who dared to surpass them in skill, intelligence, and empathy. Liara sensed their whispers but ignored them. She had spent years following tradition, observing protocol and choosing suitors by wealth or rank. This human, this outsider, made her question those rules. She had never felt this level of curiosity or respect for anyone. The afternoon brought another test. A journey into the hidden groves of Eldria, a place where floating plants formed natural puzzles and energy currents shifted unpredictably. Alien males had often failed to navigate this space, relying on maps, technology, or guides. Aaron, however, observed patterns, adjusted his path, and guided Liara safely through the terrain. "You are precise," Liara said, admiration in her voice. "And careful." Most would have panicked. Aaron smiled faintly. "I observe first, act second. Panic is rarely helpful." Liara found herself laughing softly, a sound she rarely made around other aliens. He did not take offense at her laughter, nor did he seem surprised. He simply continued, patient, clever, and kind. By the time they returned to the city, the twin suns were setting. The city glowed with soft reflections of light across the crystalline towers. Liara walked beside him, her mind full of thoughts. She had spent centuries in her court, surrounded by alien males who relied on power, status, and control. None had impressed her, not truly. Yet this human had shown courage, intelligence, and compassion all in a single day. They sat together on a high platform, overlooking the floating gardens below. "Why do they whisper about you?" Aaron asked. Liara glanced at him. "Jealousy. Alien males are easily threatened by those who surpass them. Especially outsiders. Especially humans," Aaron nodded. Then let them whisper. I don't intend to compete in their world. I intend to act in mine, simply, honestly, and with care. She studied him. That attitude, courage without arrogance, action without expectation, kindness without pretense, was unlike anything she had seen. Her curiosity grew stronger than ever. She wanted to see how far this human could go, how he would handle the complexities of her world, and whether he could truly bridge the gap between their species. You may be the first human I have ever truly observed, Liara said quietly, and I find you remarkable. Aaron turned to her, curious. Remarkable? Yes, she said. You are unlike any alien male I have known. You are clever, patient, courageous, mankind. Most of them lack one or more of these qualities. You possess all of them. Aaron smiled faintly. Then perhaps humans have something to teach even the wisest aliens. Liara laughed softly. Perhaps. The day ended with a quiet walk through the city. Citizens bowed as they passed, some curious about the human who had accompanied the princess. Others whispered, but Liara ignored them. Her attention was on the human beside her, on his calm courage, his clever mind, and the simple honesty that made him so different. That night they returned to the floating plateau near the edge of the city. Aaron repaired minor damages on his ship, using tools he had brought from his vessel. Liara watched quietly, intrigued by his methodical approach. He worked not for praise, not for recognition, but because he understood the task and wanted to complete it correctly. You think differently, Liara said finally. Breaking the silence, Aaron glanced at her. That is what humans do. We adapt. We observe, we act, and sometimes we surprise others. Liara smiled faintly. You have already surprised me. A quiet understanding settled between them. Words were unnecessary. Actions had spoken throughout the day. The repair of the device, the rescue of the child's creature, the navigation of hidden groves, and the calm presence he maintained in the alien city. Aaron had proven skill, courage, and empathy in ways no alien male had ever done. I want to see more, Liara admitted quietly. Aaron tilted his head. More of the city? More of your world? Liara shook her head. More of you. The human blinked, slightly surprised but not taken aback. He had faced dangers across galaxies, but this curiosity, this admiration from a princess, was something unique. I will show you, he said simply, but you must be prepared. Humans do not follow the same rules as aliens. We think differently, act differently, and often challenge expectations. Liara laughed softly. I think I am ready. The twin moons rose, casting a soft glow over the floating gardens below. The city hummed with life, but on the high platform, the alien princess and the human captain shared a quiet moment of understanding. Neither was naive, neither underestimated the challenges ahead. But both were curious, intrigued, and unexpectedly aligned. For Liara, it was a revelation. No alien male had ever sparked this combination of respect, admiration, and fascination. And now, a human, unassuming, clever, brave, and kind, had done what centuries of alien suitors could not. The night stretched on. Strange nocturnal creatures called in the distance, and the city lights shimmered across the floating towers. Aaron and Liara remained side by side, aware that this was only the beginning of a journey that would test courage, culture, and understanding across worlds. And deep within her, Liara felt the first true spark of excitement she had known in decades. A human had arrived, and for the first time she felt a connection that no alien male could ever achieve. The next morning, Eldria's sky was pale green, and the floating islands shimmered under the twin suns. Princess Liara led Captain Aaron toward the outer regions of the territory, where wild forests stretched into the horizon, and the terrain shifted unpredictably. This area was known for danger. Many alien explorers avoided it entirely. Here lies the Valley of Echoing Storms, Liara said, her voice calm but serious. It is beautiful but deadly. No alien male of the court has survived its full length unscathed. Few have even returned. Are you prepared? Aaron adjusted the strap of his bag and looked around. The valley was alive with motion. Trees swayed unnaturally. Floating rocks hovered and fell unpredictably, and faint energy currents crackled in the air. I've faced worse, he said. Let's go, Liara studied him. His courage was quiet, not reckless. Most aliens would boast or hesitate. Aaron simply prepared and moved. She felt a growing respect and a curiosity she could no longer ignore. They stepped into the valley. Almost immediately, the danger became apparent. An energy current shifted suddenly, knocking an unstable floating rock toward them. Arin grabbed Liara's arm, pulling her aside just in time. "You are careful," she said, breathless. "Most alien males would have ignored this hazard." "I observe first," Arin replied. "Then I act. Panicking never helps." They continued, navigating the treacherous terrain. At one point, a rift opened suddenly, and a small group of alien workers fell onto a lower ledge, trapped. Alien males in similar situations had often frozen or called for help, waiting for rescue teams. Arin, however, assessed the situation quickly. Using ropes, pulleys, and carefully placed platforms, he created a makeshift bridge and helped the workers climb to safety. Liara's eyes widened. His ingenuity, courage, and compassion were remarkable. Alien males of her court often ignored such risks, valuing appearances over action. This human not only acted but saved lives, and did so calmly, intelligently, and without hesitation. "Most humans would never come to a place like this," Liara said quietly, walking beside him. "Yet you do it." Without hesitation, Arin shrugged. "We adapt. We survive. And we help where we can." The deeper they went, the more dangerous the valley became. Energy storms flared unpredictably, ripping through the floating forest. Rocks fell without warning. Paths disappeared only to reappear moments later in new forms. Liara noticed alien guides who had attempted this journey before. They trembled and faltered, unsure of the constantly changing environment. Arin, by contrast, remained calm. He studied the movements of the terrain, predicted patterns in the energy currents, and guided Liara with confidence. She followed him closely, trusting his judgment. Alien males had never inspired this level of confidence. Arin's calm courage, his steady mind, and his quick thinking gave her a sense of safety she had never felt before. Suddenly, a massive floating boulder dislodged from above. It fell directly toward a small settlement in the valley. Alien males would have panicked or fled, leaving the settlers in danger. Arin acted instantly. Using simple but clever engineering, he rigged a system of pulleys and cables, redirecting the boulder away from the settlement and securing it safely. The settlers cheered, bowing to him in gratitude. Liara observed silently, her heart racing, not from fear but from admiration. No alien male of her court had ever combined courage, intelligence, and skill to this extent. Arin had done more than survive. He had made a difference. "You saved them," Liara said softly. "Most would not have even tried." "I could not let them be hurt," Arin replied. "That is not how I operate. Life is precious, whether human or alien." Liara's eyes softened. She had seen many displays of power and strength, but few had inspired respect and awe. Arin's actions were different. They were selfless, intelligent, and effective. As they moved deeper into the valley, the danger increased. A sudden storm struck, hurling energy bolts across the terrain. The path ahead was blocked by fallen trees and unstable rocks. Liara hesitated, but Arin stepped forward, analyzing the situation. "We need to create a stable path across," he said. "Use these fallen branches, anchor them with ropes, and distribute weight evenly." Liara followed his instructions, amazed at his ability to lead calmly under pressure. Other alien males would have argued, commanded, or hesitated. Arin acted with precision and care. By the time they reached the heart of the valley, the storm had passed, leaving a quiet, glowing landscape in its wake. The air shimmered with residual energy, and the floating islands seemed almost alive. Liara turned to Arin, her expression unreadable. "You have surpassed my expectations," she said. "Most alien males would not have survived this. You not only survived, you thrived." Arin smiled faintly. "I do what I must. The rest is just part of the journey." Their path back was equally treacherous. Another energy surge struck, threatening the floating bridges that connected parts of the valley. A group of young aliens became trapped on one side. Arin acted quickly, building temporary platforms and guiding them across safely. Liara watched, fascinated. His courage was not reckless bravado, it was calculated, thoughtful, and effective. His skill and empathy combined to create solutions no alien male of her court could conceive. When they finally returned to the edge of the valley, Liara turned to him. "You have shown me something no alien male ever has." Arin raised an eyebrow. "And what is that?" "Courage, paired with intelligence and compassion," she said. "Strength is nothing without these qualities. You possess them all, and in a way no one else does." Aaron nodded quietly. Humans survive by adapting. We think, act, and care. It is not about showing off, it is about doing what must be done. Liara smiled faintly. You make it seem simple, yet it is extraordinary. For the first time, Liara realized that no alien male, no matter how strong, rich, or clever, could ever match this combination of qualities. Aaron's courage was measured, his intelligence practical, and his empathy genuine. She felt admiration, curiosity, and a strange warmth building inside her. As the sun set, casting a pale green glow across the floating islands, Liara and Arin rested on a cliff overlooking the valley. Below, the valley hummed softly with life. Energy currents shimmered in the distance, reflecting off the glowing flora. You are unlike any alien male I have known, Liara said quietly. No one has ever inspired me this way. Aaron looked at her, surprised but not overwhelmed. Then perhaps humans and aliens can learn from each other, he said. Perhaps we can see the world differently together. Liara nodded, her mind racing. She had spent years following tradition, observing protocol, and choosing suitors by status. This human had challenged all her expectations, not through force or wealth, but through action, courage, and ingenuity. I want to see how far you can go, she admitted. Not for politics, not for status, but for curiosity, for understanding. Aaron smiled faintly. Then we shall see. I think Eldria has many lessons for me yet. The night grew deeper, and the twin moons cast silver light across the valley. Strange nocturnal creatures called softly, and the floating islands seemed to hum with energy. Liara and Arin remained side by side, quiet but aware that this day had changed everything. The valley had tested courage, skill, and compassion. Aaron had passed where no alien male had succeeded. He had not only survived but had saved lives, inspired admiration, and shown ingenuity that challenged centuries of tradition. Liara felt a flutter of something she had not known for decades: hope. Perhaps this human was different. Perhaps he could inspire change, challenge expectations, and reveal truths that alien males could not. And deep inside, she knew this journey was far from over. The test of courage had been only one step. Many more challenges lay ahead, trials of mind, heart, and spirit. Yet for the first time, Liara felt confident that a human could meet them all. The valley hummed with life. The moons reflected in her eyes, and she smiled faintly. A human had arrived, and for the first time she felt a spark that no alien male could ever create. The city of Eldria was bathed in soft green light as Princess Liara and Captain Arin returned from the Valley of Echoing Storms. Word of the human's courage and skill had already spread through the court. Alien males who had once whispered about him now observed in silence, some hiding jealousy, others curiosity. Liara walked beside Arin, her mind alive with thoughts. She had watched countless alien males attempt to impress her over the years. They offered wealth, strength, and influence, but none had truly inspired her. Arin had done more than impress. He had earned her admiration, her respect, and her fascination. The palace awaited. Its crystalline towers shimmered in the evening light, reflecting the colors of the twin moons above. The council had summoned them to announce the results of the trial. Many court members whispered among themselves, uncertain what to expect from a human who had survived the valley. Liara led Arin into the grand chamber. The council members, elder aliens with flowing robes and keen eyes, observed him quietly. Liara stepped forward. Human Captain Arin, she began, her voice calm but firm. You have passed all trials of Eldria: skill, intelligence, courage, and compassion. No alien male of this court has achieved what you have done. Arin bowed respectfully. I did only what was necessary. I did not act to gain favor, only to help and survive. Liara smiled faintly. Yet in doing so you have gained respect, mine and that of this council. Your actions speak louder than any wealth or title. The council members murmured among themselves. Some nodded in acknowledgement, realizing the truth of her words. Others shifted uncomfortably, unused to recognizing a human in such a position. You have proven, Liara continued, that courage, intelligence, and empathy are qualities far greater than status, appearance, or strength. Therefore, I formally recognize your achievement and welcome you to Eldria's court, not as a visitor, but as a respected ally. Arin straightened, slightly surprised by the recognition but not overwhelmed. He had faced many challenges across human space, but this acknowledgement from a foreign world, and from a princess whose standards were legendary, was extraordinary. "Thank you, Princess Liara," he said quietly. "I am honored." Liara looked at him, her green eyes reflecting the light of the twin moons. She had watched him over the past days, seen him act calmly under danger, solve impossible problems, and inspire those around him without seeking reward. Alien males relied on ceremony, display, and intimidation. Eren relied on intelligence, courage, and compassion, and he had done so consistently, naturally, and admirably. A moment of quiet passed in the chamber. Then Liara spoke again, her voice softer this time. "There is one more question, human. You have proven skill, courage, and wisdom. You have acted with compassion and ingenuity. But I ask, why have you done this? Why choose to face danger, to act without gain, to help those you do not know?" Eren met her gaze steadily. "Because it is right," he said simply. "Because life matters. Because helping others is not a choice, it is necessary. I do not act for glory or reward. I act because it is the right thing to do." Liara felt a warmth in her chest she had not known for decades. None of her alien suitors had ever answered so simply, so honestly. They had tried to impress her with skill, wealth, or strategy, but none had spoken with truth and courage combined. "You are unlike any alien male I have known," she said softly. "And perhaps unlike any human I have imagined." Eren smiled faintly. "I am who I am. I only hope it is enough." Liara stepped closer. "It is more than enough. You have shown me what it means to act with courage, to think with clarity, and to care without hesitation. You have done what centuries of alien suitors could not. You have changed my world." Her words were quiet but full of meaning. A hush fell over the council. Even those who had once whispered or doubted now observed in awe. A human had achieved something no alien male had managed. "You may remain in Eldria as my guest," Liara continued, "and if you choose, as my companion. The choice is yours, Captain Eren." Eren felt a mixture of surprise, humility, and quiet joy. Recognition from the council was significant, but the offer from Liara herself, the princess, was extraordinary. Few humans had ever received such an honor, and even fewer had earned it by courage, intelligence, and compassion rather than wealth or power. I would be honored," he said simply. "To stay, to learn, and to continue helping where I can." Liara's eyes sparkled. "Then it is settled. You are no longer merely a visitor. You are part of Eldria, and part of my life." Over the following days, Eren adapted to court life. He studied the customs, observed the people, and continued to act with the same courage and ingenuity he had shown in the valley. Alien males who had once mocked or doubted him began to acknowledge his skill and wisdom. Citizens admired him for his courage and compassion. Liara spent time with him daily, teaching him about her world, its history, and its mysteries. She was fascinated by the human's perspective, different, practical, and innovative. Where aliens relied on strict rules and hierarchy, Eren relied on observation, adaptation, and action. He saw solutions where others saw obstacles. He acted decisively yet with care. And he had a natural empathy that inspired those around him. One evening, as they walked across a high platform overlooking the glowing gardens, Liara spoke quietly. "You have done more than survive Eldria's trials, Eren. You have changed the way I see my own world and myself." Eren looked at her. "I never expected to do that. I only tried to act rightly, to help, and to survive." "You have done more," Liara said. "You have shown me courage, intelligence, and compassion in a way no one else has. You make me want to be better, to think differently, to act differently." Eren felt a warmth in his chest. He had faced countless dangers and challenges in human space, but the admiration and trust of an alien princess, earned by courage and honesty, was something extraordinary. "I am glad," he said quietly. "I only hope I can continue to meet your expectations." Liara smiled, a rare, genuine expression. "You have exceeded them already, and yet I feel there is more to discover, more to learn, more to share." In the weeks that followed, their bond grew. Eren's ingenuity solved problems that had long challenged Eldria's citizens. His courage inspired others, and his empathy earned the respect of young and old alike. Liara observed him closely, fascinated by his approach to life, problem-solving, and understanding. Alien males who had once competed for her attention began to withdraw, realizing that no display of strength, wealth, or cunning could match the human's combination of qualities. Aaron did not seek to dominate or impress. He acted with honesty, intelligence, and compassion. That was enough. That was extraordinary. One evening, Liara turned to him as they walked through the floating gardens. "Aaron," she said softly, "you have proven yourself in ways I never imagined. No alien male could achieve this. You have earned not only my respect but my trust, and more than that, my admiration." Aaron looked at her, understanding the weight of her words. "Liara, I only acted as I always do. I did not seek to impress. I only did what was right. That is why it is extraordinary," she said. "No alien male could act this way. They think of appearances, of status, of pride. You act with heart, with mind, and with courage. You are remarkable." A quiet moment passed. The twin moons reflected in her eyes, casting a pale green light across the gardens. Aaron felt something shift inside him. He had faced many challenges across the galaxy, but this recognition from someone as intelligent, wise, and perceptive as Liara was profound. "Then I will continue," he said quietly. "I will act rightly, and I will learn. For Eldria, for you, for all who need help." Liara smiled, a warmth spreading through her chest. "Then it is decided. You are no longer merely a human visitor. You are part of Eldria, and part of my life." The council and citizens acknowledged the union quietly, recognizing Aaron's courage, skill, and heart. Other alien males could only watch, realizing that the human had achieved what none of them could, earning the admiration and trust of the princess not through wealth, strength, or influence, but through intelligence, courage, and genuine compassion. That night, Liara and Aaron stood together on the palace's highest terrace. The city glowed below, the twin moons casting silver and green reflections across the floating gardens. Eldria hummed with life, alive with energy and wonder. "You have changed everything," Liara said quietly. "Not by force, not by title, not by wealth, but by being who you are." Aaron took her hand gently. "And you have shown me a world unlike any I have ever known. A world worth protecting, worth understanding, and worth learning from." Liara smiled faintly. "Then we shall continue together. You and I, human and princess. Different, yet aligned." For the first time in centuries, Liara felt a sense of excitement, trust, and genuine connection. No alien male could inspire this. Only a human, Captain Aaron, had done so. The palace lights shimmered, the floating gardens glowed softly, and Eldria's strange magic hummed around them. Two worlds, two species, and two hearts now stood side by side, united not by ceremony or status, but by courage, intelligence, and compassion. And deep inside, Liara knew one truth that no alien male could ever change. Only this human could inspire her, challenge her, and hold her trust and admiration. Only Aaron. A new era had begun. For Eldria, for the court, and for the princess's heart.